Have you ever wondered why people who seem kind, peaceful, and full of light often attract the wrong kind of people? You know the ones? Those who always want attention, who play mind games, who leave you feeling tired and confused. It's like no matter how good you are, you keep meeting people who just want to take. If that sounds familiar, you might be a chosen one. Someone with a big heart, deep spirit, and a special purpose in this world. Now here's the twist. Narcissists and energy vampires are drawn to people like you. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong. Your light shines so bright, it catches the attention of people who live in darkness. They want your energy, your peace, your kindness, because deep inside they don't have it, and instead of growing their own light, they try to steal yours. But don't worry. In this video, we're going to break it all down. You'll understand why this happens, how to spot these people early, and most importantly, how to protect your energy without changing who you are. So stick with me till the very end. You won't want to miss the last few points that can truly change how you see yourself and others. Don't forget to join our community by subscribing, leave a comment to share your story, and show some love with a like if this speaks to your soul. You're not alone, and together we're going to shine even brighter. Let's get started. Because it's time you understood why chosen ones attract narcissists and energy vampires, and how to rise above it. Some people shine without even trying. They walk into a room, and others feel calmer, happier, or just drawn to them. These people don't need to shout to be noticed. Their quiet strength, kindness, and deep heart speak louder than words. This is the light inside them. And that light? It's powerful, but not everyone who notices it comes with good intentions. When someone has a bright light, like kindness, empathy, and emotional wisdom, certain people feel drawn to it. But not because they want to celebrate it. Some people, especially narcissists, are pulled toward that light because they want to use it. They don't come to give, they come to take. A narcissist is someone who only thinks about themselves. They need attention and control like they need air. They don't understand deep feelings. So when they meet someone who does, someone who listens, cares, and feels things deeply, they get curious. They think, this person makes me feel important. They give me the love I can't give myself. That's when they start to cling to the light. Here's the hook. They don't come because you're weak. They come because you're strong. Your peace feels like a safe space. Your heart feels like home. And your energy gives them what they are missing inside. But instead of becoming better people, they try to keep you around just to keep feeling that way, even if it means hurting you. It's important to understand that their behavior says more about them than it does about you. You didn't do anything wrong by being kind, loving, or caring. That's your light, that's your strength. But light also needs protection. It's okay to say no, it's okay to step back. You don't have to prove your goodness by letting people walk over you. Just remember this, the right people will be inspired by your light, not try to steal it. Energy, vampires feed on what you freely give. Have you ever felt completely exhausted after talking to someone, like they took all your energy and you didn't even do anything physical? That's not just in your head, that's what happens when you're around an energy vampire. These people don't come with fangs or spooky eyes, they look like everyone else. They might even seem friendly at first. But deep down, they feed on your emotions, your attention, your kindness, everything good that you give out freely. Chosen ones have big hearts, you care deeply, you listen when others need to talk, and you always want to help. You bring peace to chaos, and your calm energy can make a room feel safe. But sadly, some people don't come into your life to give back, they come to take. And the more you give, the more they want. Energy vampires love being around people who are healers, empaths, and natural encouragers, because you make them feel full. But they don't fill you back up, they just keep taking until you feel tired, anxious, or even sad, and you don't know why. The truth is, your kindness is a gift. but not everyone deserves unlimited access to it. That's why it's so important to set healthy boundaries. You can still be a light, just don't let anyone dim you in the process. So the next time you feel drained after being around someone, don't ignore it. Pay attention. It might be a sign that they're feeding off the energy you're giving without giving anything back. Have you ever met someone who always seems to bring drama, confusion, or stress wherever they go? Like, no matter what the situation is, they somehow turn it into a problem? These people live in emotional chaos, and strangely, they're often drawn to the calmest, kindest people in the room. That's why narcissists and toxic people are often attracted to you. The one who brings peace, listens without judging, and stays grounded even when things go wrong. Your calmness is like a magnet. It's something they don't have and don't understand. Deep inside, they're in a storm, constantly needing attention, control, or someone to blame, and when they see someone who doesn't play those games, who stays still in the middle of the storm, they get curious and sometimes jealous. They want your peace, not to learn from it, but to disrupt it, because if they can shake your balance, they feel powerful. If they can pull you into their chaos, they don't feel so alone in it. But here's the truth, your calm is not a weakness, it's your strength. It's what makes you different, and it's something worth protecting. You don't have to fight their chaos. You don't have to fix it either. Just recognize it, stay grounded, and remember, not everyone deserves access to your peace. Because when your calmness makes them uncomfortable, it's a sign that your spirit is strong, and theirs is unsettled. You represent what they can never be. 500 words. Have you ever noticed how some people seem bothered by your confidence, even when you're not trying to show off? Or how your honesty, calm spirit, and deep thinking make others act strange around you, sometimes even jealous or cruel for no clear reason? That's because you represent something they can never truly be. Your authenticity, your ability to be yourself without pretending, and your deep self-awareness threaten people who are trapped in masks, lies, and shallow identities. Especially narcissists and energy vampires. You see, these people spend their lives chasing approval, fake power, or attention. They build their identity on what others think of them, not who they really are. So when they come across someone like you, someone who doesn't need to pretend, who knows themselves deeply, and who stands in truth even when it's hard, it shakes them. It shows them what they're missing. You become a living mirror. And when they look at you, they don't just see you, they see what they're not. That's why they start picking at you, putting you down, or trying to control you, because if they can't be like you, they want to make you doubt yourself. If they can't rise to your level, they'll try to bring you down to theirs, but don't fall for it. You're not the problem. You're just not easy to manipulate. Your clarity scares people who live in confusion. Your honesty burns people who live in lies. Your presence, your peace, and your purpose are too loud for their shallow games. That's why they'll try to twist your words, control your choices, and make you feel small. Not because you are, but because they feel small next to you. Controlling you makes them feel superior, even if it's just for a moment. It gives them a fake sense of power, because deep inside they feel powerless. They might use guilt, fear, charm, or even fake love to try and pull your light into their shadow. But you don't owe them your power. You don't owe anyone your truth just to make them feel comfortable in their lie. You were not made to shrink just so others can feel tall. You were not made to dim your light just so their darkness feels less obvious. If someone is intimidated by your truth, that's not your fault. That's their insecurity speaking. And instead of owning it, they try to control the one thing that reminds them of what they lack, you. So protect your energy, know your worth, and keep being real even when it's uncomfortable for others. Because in a world full of people trying to be liked, you're choosing to be true. And that's the one thing they can never fake, copy, or steal. And that's why you're powerful. That's why you're chosen. And that's why they fear what you carry. You're wired to heal, and they're wired to take. 500 words. Some people are born with a special kind of heart, one that feels deeply, sees pain in others, and naturally wants to help. These are the chosen ones, the natural healers. You might be one of them. Maybe you're the one everyone calls when they're in trouble. You're the one who listens without judging, forgives without being asked, and gives love even when you're running on empty. It's not because you're weak. It's because your spirit is built for compassion. You see the brokenness in people, and instead of turning away, your soul whispers, "Help them." This is your gift. But sadly, it's also what makes you a target. Narcissists and energy vampires see this in you, and instead of being grateful or respectful, they exploit it. They don't want healing for the right reasons. They're not interested in growing, changing, or becoming better. They want the comfort, the attention, the emotional energy, but they don't want to do the work. So they attach themselves to healers like you. They drain you little by little. At first, it may look like love or friendship, but over time you'll feel more tired, more anxious, more unsure of yourself. That's because they're wired to take, and when you're wired to give, it creates a dangerous loop, one where you pour and they collect over and over again. They know how to play on your empathy. They know how to cry at the right moment, say just enough to make you stay, or act like they'll change, but it's a performance. Not all people want healing. Some want attention. Some want to keep being broken because it gives them control over givers like you. And the more you give, the less you have left for yourself. That's why it's so important to understand the difference between helping and being used. Being a healer doesn't mean saving everyone. You're not a tool for others to use. You're a soul with limits, and you deserve to be cared for too. You have the right to protect your energy, say no, and walk away from people who only show up when they're in need. True healing isn't one-sided. Real connections flow both ways, with love, respect, and care, moving in both directions. So if you've ever wondered why certain people keep coming into your life just to take, hurt, or confuse you, it's not because you're doing something wrong, it's because you're doing something right. You have a light that draws both the wounded and the selfish. The wounded can be healed, but the selfish, they'll only stay if you stay weak. And you weren't born to stay weak. You were born to rise and to heal with wisdom, not self-destruction. They sense your purpose, even before you do. 500 words. There's something about you that draws people in. Something different, something powerful, even if you don't fully understand it yet. Maybe you've always felt like you don't fit in. Maybe strange things happened when you were younger. People treating you unfairly, trying to silence you, break your confidence, or push you down for no clear reason. You didn't ask to stand out, but somehow you always did. That's not a coincidence. It's because you have a purpose, a divine calling on your life that even you may not fully recognize yet. But they do. Spiritually dark individuals, those who are not aligned with love, light, or truth, can sense spiritual power. They feel when someone carries a destiny, especially a chosen one. It threatens them. It makes them uneasy. And even before you know what your purpose is, they already see the light you're carrying. They don't know the details, but they sense your potential, your power, your purity, and they want to destroy it before it grows. So they show up early, in childhood, in school, in your first relationships, trying to plant seeds of doubt, trauma, and confusion, because if they can shake you at the root, you may never rise into the person you were created to be. That's why chosen ones often go through so much pain, rejection, betrayal, and spiritual attacks, not because they are weak, but because they're strong. The enemy attacks what he fears. Darkness fights what carries light. If you weren't powerful, you wouldn't be targeted. If your future didn't matter, your past wouldn't have been so hard. But the very fact that they tried to crush you early tells you just how important you are. These people may come in the form of bullies, toxic partners, manipulative friends, or even jealous family members. They might mock your dreams, belittle your gifts, or guilt trip you into playing small. But it's never really about you, it's about your assignment. If they can stop you from stepping into it, they feel like they've won. But here's the truth, fight. Your purpose is protected by the one who gave it to you. Even if you've stumbled, even if you've been through trauma or made mistakes, your calling is still alive. The fact that you've survived everything meant to break you is proof that you are still on your path. And no amount of spiritual darkness can cancel what God has anointed. So if people seem to come out of nowhere just to discourage you, confuse you, or pull you off track, pause. Recognize what's really happening. This is spiritual warfare. This is destiny being detected, but you don't need to be afraid. Stand firm, stay grounded, and keep walking in truth, because the enemy sensed your purpose before you did. But that doesn't mean he'll succeed in stopping it. You were chosen for a reason, and your time is coming. You offer what they crave. Unconditional love. 500 words. There's something rare about your love. It's not shallow, temporary, or transactional. It's deep, real, and unconditional. As a chosen one, your heart naturally extends grace to others, even when they don't deserve it. You see people beyond their flaws. You believe in their potential, even when they show you their worst. And this kind of love, it's powerful, it's healing, it's what many people secretly crave, especially those who never learned how to give it themselves. That's why energy vampires and narcissists are drawn to you. They are addicted to the way you love, not because they plan to return it, but because it makes them feel whole, even if just for a moment. Your love becomes a drug to them. Your attention becomes their oxygen. You see, most of these people walk through life wearing masks. They pretend to be confident, strong, or in control, but inside they're often broken, insecure, and emotionally starved. They don't know what real love feels like until they meet someone like you. Your unconditional love touches a part of them they've spent years burying. At first, they're amazed by it. They might even become obsessed. But here's the danger. They don't know how to receive love in a healthy way. They fear it. They try to control it. And in time, they start demanding more and more until your love turns into a prison. They want you to keep pouring into them no matter how badly they treat you. They test your loyalty. They see how far they can push before you walk away. And because you're wired to forgive and understand, you often stay longer than you should. You excuse their behavior. You hope they'll change. You think, maybe if I just love them a little harder, they'll heal. But what you need to realize is, well, they don't want to heal. They want to feed. And your love, your compassion, your empathy, it's their favorite meal. It's important to understand that your ability to love deeply is a gift, not a weakness. But that gift needs boundaries, because love without limits turns into self-destruction. You were not created to be drained. You were created to shine. And if someone can't respect your love, if they twist it into something toxic, they don't deserve front-row access to your life. You don't have to stop being loving. You just have to stop offering your heart to people who only see it as a tool for their survival. True love doesn't demand that you lose yourself. It celebrates who you are. And when you meet the right people, the ones who are healed, whole, or willing to grow, your love will finally be matched, not misused. So keep being who you are, but protect your heart, because your unconditional love is powerful, and not everyone deserves it. They mirror you to manipulate you. 500 words. Narcissists are masters of deception. They are skilled at picking up on the energy of others, especially those they want to manipulate, and using it to their advantage. One of the most common tactics they use to draw you in is mirroring, pretending to be just like you. This tactic works because narcissists understand that people naturally feel a deep connection with others who share their values, interests, and even energy. So they study you carefully. They watch how you speak, how you react, what makes you laugh, what makes you upset, and they copy it, all to create the illusion of compatibility. At first, it can feel amazing. You think, wow, we're so alike. It's like we were meant to be friends, partners, or companions. The connection feels easy, smooth, and effortless, but this mirroring isn't genuine. It's not an expression of who they truly are. It's a tactic to get you to let your guard down, to trust them, and to begin forming a bond. Narcissists know that when you see yourself in someone else, it's easy to feel understood and loved. They give you exactly what you want to see, a reflection of yourself. However, as time goes on, the cracks begin to show. You start to notice that something doesn't feel quite right. The more you get to know them, the more their actions don't align with their words. They might have mirrored your values at first, but now you're beginning to realize that their intentions were never about sharing those values with you. They were about taking what they needed. By mirroring you, they gain access to your emotions, your resources, and your trust. Once they've established this connection, they can begin subtly manipulating you. They use the trust you've placed in them against you. When you feel vulnerable, they offer false support. But it's always with strings attached. They might guilt-trip you into doing things for them, or make you feel responsible for their happiness. As you become more emotionally invested, they stop mirroring you and start revealing the true face behind the mask. But by then, you're so wrapped up in the bond that you might not even recognize the manipulation happening right in front of you. It's a dangerous game. The more they mirror you, the more they learn about your weaknesses, your desires, and your fears, and they use that knowledge to control you. Narcissists thrive on power, and the easiest way to get it is by making you feel like you need them, like you can't live without their approval. They get their energy from your validation, and by mirroring you, they learn how to keep you hooked. So how can you spot a narcissist who's mirroring you? It's simple. Look for inconsistency. Pay attention to their actions. Do they back up their words with real support, or do they just promise and never deliver? Do they respect your boundaries, or do they manipulate you into breaking them? When you start seeing these red flags, it's time to step back and reevaluate the relationship. You don't need someone who mimics your energy. You need someone who understands and appreciates the real you. Genuine relationships are built on authenticity, not on manipulation. Protect your energy and trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. You see through them, and that threatens them. 500 words. There's something powerful about your ability to see beyond the surface. Your spiritual discernment allows you to read people in a way that most others can't. You don't just hear their words or watch their actions. You can feel their energy, sense their intentions, and see the hidden truths they desperately try to conceal. This gift, while empowering, is something that narcissists find both threatening and fascinating. And yet, despite their fear of being exposed, they can't help but be drawn to you. Narcissists thrive on control and deception. They carefully construct their identities, carefully curating the image they want the world to see. Their lives are built on lies, facades, and manipulation. So when someone like you comes along, someone who can see through their masks and expose the truth, it shakes them to their core. You pose a threat to everything they've worked so hard to create. They try to maintain their control over you, but they know that you see them for who they really are. Flaws, insecurities, and all. That knowledge gives you power. It disempowers them because they can no longer hide in the shadows. They can no longer pull the strings without you noticing. Your spiritual discernment forces them to reckon with their true selves, something they desperately avoid. This reality, the fact that you can see through them, causes narcissists to feel exposed and vulnerable. But here's the catch. While they fear you, they are also oddly obsessed with you. They can't understand how you know what they're thinking, how you sense their hidden motives, and this unnerving power you have over them creates a strange mix of fear and fascination. They can't help but watch you, study you, and try to figure out how to keep you in their orbit. They may try to manipulate you into doubting your intuition or convince you that you're wrong, but deep down, they know you're right, and that scares them even more. They might try to undermine you by making you feel insecure, gaslighting you into thinking that you don't actually see what you see. But no matter how hard they try, the truth remains, you see through them. And that's something they can never change. The scariest thing for a narcissist is someone who isn't fooled by their games. You're not easily manipulated by their charm or their tricks. You're not swayed by their false promises or grand gestures. You see past all of that and recognize the darkness they desperately try to hide. And that recognition challenges their very existence. It disrupts their sense of superiority and control. But even though narcissists may fear your discernment, they're drawn to it like a moth to a flame. It's as if they can't resist the urge to pull you closer, even though they know you're the one person who sees them for what they truly are. They'll continue to test your boundaries, continue to try to influence you, but all you have to do is trust your gift. Your ability to see through their deception is a strength, and it's something that should be protected. So, embrace your spiritual discernment. Don't allow narcissists to make you doubt your truth. You have a powerful gift, one that allows you to navigate the world with clarity and understanding. And while it may make you a target for those who thrive on manipulation, it's also your greatest defense. In the end, it's your ability to see the truth that will protect you from their toxic influence. You're a challenge, and they love a target. 500 words. The moment you embody resilience, confidence, and enlightenment, you become a walking challenge for narcissists. They thrive on control, manipulation, and conquest. And nothing excites them more than a person who refuses to be broken. For them, the more resilient and enlightened you are, the more they see you as a target. But this isn't a target in the traditional sense. They're not interested in simply defeating you, they want to break your spirit. Narcissists find power in diminishing others. They're driven by a need to feel superior, and nothing validates their sense of self-worth more than reducing someone who is strong and self-aware. When you're at your most enlightened, you're a living testament to the power of self-love and inner peace. This threatens them, and instead of admiring your strength, they view it as something to dismantle. They know that a person who is centered, self-assured, and spiritually aligned can't easily be controlled, so they aim to shatter that strength, piece by piece. Their tactic isn't direct. They won't always come at you aggressively. Instead, they employ subtle psychological warfare. They may try to sow seeds of doubt in your mind, question your worth, or push you to question your own abilities. They use manipulative tactics like gaslighting to make you doubt your own reality and feelings. Over time, their goal is to erode the very foundation of your confidence. They want you to second-guess everything you know to be true, to make you feel like you're not as strong, capable, or worthy as you once thought. The more enlightened you are, the more attractive you become as a challenge. Your inner peace and self-sufficiency are magnets for their insecurity. They don't know how to handle someone who's secure in their own skin, someone who doesn't need validation from external sources. That's exactly why they target you. They want to win over someone who has already won the most important battle, the battle for self-love and spiritual growth. For narcissists, the act of breaking your spirit is the ultimate prize because it gives them the illusion of control. But in reality, it only reveals their weakness. They feed off the energy of those who are emotionally invested in them. So the more you resist their attempts to manipulate you, the more they'll try to drag you down. They want to make you feel like you're wrong for standing your ground. But what they don't realize is that your resilience is what makes you untouchable. Every attempt to break you only highlights their own insecurity and lack of emotional maturity. The key here is to recognize that their obsession with you stems from their need for validation. They cannot bear the thought of someone who doesn't depend on them for approval. That's why they seek to break people like you, because you reflect the very thing they lack: self-sufficiency, inner peace, and the ability to stand firm without seeking validation from others. So if you find yourself constantly at odds with a narcissist, take it as a compliment. Your strength is what makes you a target, but it also makes you unbreakable. They can try all they want, but they'll never be able to conquer the spirit of someone who knows their worth. Your challenge isn't just surviving their attacks. It's knowing that your resilience is your greatest asset. No matter how many times they try to tear you down, they'll never succeed in breaking you because you already possess the most powerful weapon of all, self-love. Empathy is one of your greatest gifts. It allows you to understand others on a deep, emotional level, to connect with their pain and offer them the compassion they need. You can feel the struggles of others as if they were your own, and this makes you a deeply caring person. However, as a chosen one, your empathy can also become your trap, especially when it comes to narcissists and energy vampires. Your ability to forgive and understand can sometimes blind you to the toxic behavior right in front of you. You see their pain, their vulnerabilities, and the emotional wounds that may have caused them to act the way they do. In your mind, you think that by offering forgiveness or understanding, you can heal them, fix the situation, and bring peace. But what you may fail to realize is that, with some individuals, particularly narcissists, your empathy isn't seen as a gift. It's seen as an opportunity to exploit you. Narcissists and energy vampires thrive on attention and validation, and they know that your empathy makes you a prime target. They're aware of how much you care and how deeply you want to help others. And they will use this to their advantage. They know exactly how to manipulate your emotions, playing on your need to fix things and your desire to heal people. They may act as though they are genuinely suffering, and in your compassion you might rush in to offer support or forgiveness. But what you don't realize is that they are not looking for healing. They're looking for control. Your kindness and willingness to forgive can make you turn a blind eye to the red flags. You may excuse their behavior, telling yourself that they're just going through a tough time or that you can help them change. But this leaves you vulnerable. Narcissists will continue to feed off your energy, knowing that you will always give them the benefit of the doubt, always offer understanding, and always forgive them, no matter how many times they hurt you. This cycle becomes dangerous because the more empathy you give, the more they drain you. You pour your energy into them, believing you are helping, when in reality, they are only taking. They don't want to change. They want to continue using your compassion for their own benefit. You may find yourself emotionally exhausted, questioning why things never improve, and yet you continue to offer understanding, convinced that you're the one who can make a difference. What you need to recognize is that true healing only comes when both parties are willing to work on themselves. Empathy alone isn't enough to change someone who isn't willing to change themselves. You can offer support, but you cannot be their savior. By constantly trying to fix others, you risk losing yourself in the process. You may start to ignore your own needs and well-being, focusing solely on theirs. And in doing so, you put yourself in a position where you're constantly giving but never receiving. It's important to set boundaries and recognize when your empathy is being used as a weapon against you. While your compassion is a beautiful trait, it's essential to protect your energy. It's okay to care for others, but it's also necessary to care for yourself. Recognize the signs of toxic behavior and don't let your empathy become a trap. Protect your peace and remember that you can love others without losing yourself in the process. In a world that often feels overwhelmed by negativity, you stand as a beacon of light. Your kindness, positivity, and authenticity shine brightly, radiating warmth and hope to those around you. But the very light that makes you special also attracts unwanted attention, and not always from the right sources. The brighter your soul shines, the more it becomes a magnet for troubled spirits, including narcissists, energy vampires, and individuals who thrive on darkness and chaos. Just like moths are irresistibly drawn to a flame, negative and draining personalities are drawn to your light. They may be aware, on some level, that they are in darkness and see you as a source of comfort, guidance, or inspiration. But rather than seeking genuine connection or growth, they often seek to feed off your energy, using your light to fill their own emptiness. They don't seek to evolve, they seek to drain you so they can briefly feel the warmth of your energy. Monsters, in this case, can be seen as the metaphorical creatures that thrive in the darkness of manipulation, control, and toxicity. These individuals prey on your goodness, using it to camouflage their own insecurities and fears. They can be narcissists, energy vampires, or simply those who have unresolved pain and bitterness inside them. To them, your light is not a beacon of hope, but a tool to manipulate and exploit. However, it's important to recognize that these moths and monsters aren't inherently evil. They are often lost souls seeking something they cannot find on their own. But that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice yourself in the process. The more your light shines, the more vulnerable you become to these energy-sucking individuals. They'll cling to you, hoping to absorb some of the strength and positivity you have within you. They might wear masks of charm, seeking to make you feel needed, valued, or appreciated. But beneath the surface, their true intentions are to take what they can and leave you feeling drained, empty, and confused. It's crucial to protect your light and set boundaries with those who try to latch onto you without giving anything in return. You are not responsible for saving everyone, and you certainly don't need to let others dim your brilliance in order to make them feel comfortable. Your light is a gift, not a resource to be exploited. The key to navigating this delicate balance lies in self-awareness and self-preservation. Be aware of the people who constantly drain your energy without offering anything positive in return. Trust your intuition. If someone's presence leaves you feeling depleted or unsettled, it's a clear sign that they might be one of those monsters or moths that feeds off your light. Protect your energy by learning to say no, establishing firm boundaries, and allowing only those who genuinely appreciate and reciprocate your energy to stay in your life. Your light is a precious gift, and while it may attract those who need healing, remember that not everyone is deserving of your energy. Stay grounded, stay protected, and never let anyone dim your light for their own benefit. By embracing your inner strength and self-worth, you can continue to shine brightly without being consumed by those who only wish to take from you. You have something within you that many people can't even begin to understand, a boundless potential that radiates outwards like an untapped energy source. Your dreams, abilities, and inner strength shine brightly, like a future full of endless possibilities. And while this potential is a gift, it also makes you a target for narcissists. These individuals who thrive on control and manipulation are drawn to your power because they sense something you may not even fully recognize yet. They see the vastness of your future, and that terrifies them. Narcissists are notoriously insecure, and their need to dominate others is born out of a deep fear of losing control. When they encounter someone like you, someone with boundless potential, they immediately recognize the danger to their carefully constructed world. Your independence, your self-confidence, and the way you carry yourself threaten their fragile sense of power. They fear that if you ever fully realized your potential, they would have no place in your life. And that fear is often what drives them to latch onto you. But what they don't realize is that their attempt to control you only highlights how temporary their hold is. They may try to manipulate you into thinking that you need them, that your success depends on their approval, or that they hold the keys to your future. Narcissists often feed on the idea that they are the ones who determine your worth, but deep down, they know that you have something far greater than they can ever offer, a limitless future that doesn't require their validation. You carry within you a rare and powerful gift, the ability to be a reflection of truth. Your authenticity, self-awareness, and deep connection to your inner self shine like a mirror, forcing others to see themselves for who they truly are. To some, this is a beautiful and liberating experience, but to others, it's a threat, particularly to narcissists and energy vampires who thrive on deception and manipulation. These individuals are experts at constructing false realities, and your mere presence exposes the cracks in their facade. Narcissists, in particular, live in a world of lies. They lie to themselves about who they are, what they want, and what they deserve. Their reality is shaped by their ego, which constantly needs validation and admiration to survive. In their eyes, they are entitled to special treatment and can do no wrong, but deep down, they are constantly battling feelings of inadequacy, insecurity, and a deep-rooted fear of being exposed for who they truly are. Your authenticity forces them to confront these uncomfortable truths they are not ready to face. When a narcissist interacts with you, your honesty and transparency become a mirror that reflects their own inner emptiness. Your presence reminds them of everything they lack: self-love, emotional depth, and the ability to connect with others on a genuine level. This can make them feel small, insignificant, and powerless. And because they are unwilling to acknowledge their own flaws, they respond with resentment. Instead of embracing your truth and using it to grow, they try to diminish it, suppress it, or manipulate it to serve their own interests. The discomfort they feel when confronted with the truth can cause them to lash out. They might try to discredit you, undermine your confidence, or twist your words to make you question your own reality. But the truth is, they are not attacking you, they are attacking the reflection you provide. They resent the fact that you are able to stand in your truth while they are trapped in their lies. They resent the fact that you can live authentically without hiding behind a mask while they are desperately trying to maintain an illusion of perfection. The challenges you face with narcissists and energy vampires are not just superficial or personal struggles. They transcend the everyday and reach into the unseen realm, a spiritual battle where the forces of light clash against the forces of darkness. What you experience in the material world is merely a reflection of a deeper, more profound conflict that has been raging for centuries since the dawn of time. It's a battle between good and evil, between truth and deception, between love and manipulation. And whether you realize it or not, you are in the midst of it. When you are chosen, when you carry within you a divine light, the very nature of your being becomes a threat to the forces of darkness. Your energy, your spirit, your connection to something greater than yourself is a powerful force. It's not just about your personal growth or success, it's about the larger spiritual influence you have on the world around you. The narcissists, energy vampires, and toxic individuals you encounter are often tools or manifestations of darker spiritual forces that seek to diminish your light, suppress your truth, and pull you away from your higher purpose. The truth is simple, yet profound. When you learn to protect your energy, you break the cycle of manipulation and control. Narcissists, energy vampires, and toxic individuals thrive on your vulnerability, on the unchecked flow of your energy into their lives. They feed off your kindness, your empathy, and your spirit, draining you without you even realizing it at first. But once you understand that protecting your energy is not just an option, but a necessity, you shift the power dynamics.